Hello everybody, welcome. I'm Joey Else, welcome. So basically, in this wonderful reading that I'm going to provide you, is that this is going to be very interesting indeed. Basically, this is how it's going to be in that way, in that casual, that's how it goes in that way. So we have to understand with the way how this is. So we have to believe in order to our own circumstances for an understanding about the way how this is. I think that we have to believe that everything seems to be fine and accomplished on how it is in that way, because this is the way it seems to be in that way. So we have to understand and prove ourselves wisely to get the better of this outcome in this way. This is how it seems to be. So we have to stand with how it goes in that way. We have to know that how it is in that way. We have to go with the flow and understand that that's how it goes, right? So we have to believe in our own circumstances from the right or wrong perspective. That's all we can do. But we have to have our own result of knowing about how we can, how it is in that way. We have to go with the flow. We have to do exactly what we're told to do. We have to do exactly what we can. But the way how this is, we have to be sincere and be etiquette of knowing what to do. So we have to understand that. But this is going to be for a reading for Sagittarius. Sagittarius will go from August the 18th to August the 25th of 2025. So this is going to be a very interesting reading indeed. Sagittarius, I know that you are basically a fire sign and a zodiac sign, so you might be a cross watcher in the way of this is, because it's very interesting indeed. So you have to understand about how it's going to comply to you, of how it is in that way. Because you have to know about your basic rules of how it's going to be in that way, because you think, okay, everything is very fine, and that's how it goes, right? So you have to believe in order to do that in wonderful recommendation, but that's how it goes. So this oracle card, it says, blame. I accept responsibility for my well-being. That's how it goes. And when you have your own result about having blame, you understand what it goes through, because that's how it goes in that way. It's like, why are you blaming on yourself? Why are you doing it? Because that's how it goes, Sagittarius. You have to know what it is in that way. That's how it goes, right? So you know how it is. So let's see what's going on. Excuse me. So let's see what's going to be happening. So we're going to see who's on the left side, who's on the right, and let's see who's going to be in the middle of this situation for you, Sagittarius. So you have to know about how it goes in that way, because this is how it seems to be. So here we go. So the way how this is, the way how you're going to be involved with what you're doing in that way, you have to do exactly what you're told to do. So to be responsible on how it is in that way, because that's how it is in that way. So everything seems to be fine, but then how would you do it, right? How would you basically how it is in that way, right? It's like how you're going to do it in that way, because you're trying to have it both to move. You're trying to know about how it's going to be in that way, because you have to go with the flow to understand that in the way how this is. So it's like how it's going to be very interesting indeed, because you have to know what it is in that way. It's like, okay, everything's going to be fine, alright, because this is how it goes. So you have to understand about in that way, because you know what it is in that way of how it is, right? So that's how it seems to be. So you have to know exactly the basic ways of how it is in that way. And you think, alright, everything's going to be fine, but that's how it goes. So let's see what's going on. So let's see what's going on the left side, please. Starting card of yours, there's no bravery here from yours, and there's no guidance. But 2 cups is upright, there are relationships, friendships. So you might be dealing with a Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio in that way. You don't know why it is, but that's how it goes in that way. It's like you have to be virtual what you're doing in that way, and you have to be casual of knowing what to do and you know your basic needs, but then this is how it is. So when you have no bravery, you're being scared, you don't know what to do, but you understand that. You understand what it takes in that way because you're trying to understand that. You're not trying to be blind, you're trying to figure out what's going to be happening in that perspective. That's all you can do. What's happening with this Nine of Pentacles here? The Four of Cups here is there's no distraction. Ace of Pentacles here is there's no prosperity. Five of Cups is upright, there's grief. Yeah, because the way how this is, it's like, why are you trying to not grieve on that? But that's how it goes in that way. It's like, you have to show your own emotion. You're trying to show about why you feeling like that, you know? You have to be who you are and be brave what you're doing, because that's how it goes in that way. You're trying to coordinate about what's going on in that way. It's like, okay, everything seems to be fine. Alright, I got this, but then it's like, why are you doing it, right? That's what you have to understand about knowing what to do, and you're trying to figure out what you're going to be getting, you know? That's how it goes. You're trying to be specific. You're trying to get what you want. You're trying to have your own priorities because you understand that. That's how it goes. You're trying to, feel your own vibrations of knowing what to do in that way, right? So if you're in relationships, if you're having grief, if you don't know what to do, you're trying to figure out what's going to be doing, right? You're trying to find about a puzzle, and you're trying to put all these puzzle pieces together, right, into a picture, right? But it's like you don't know what it fits, That's how it is, right? So you're trying to figure out what's happening in this way because you have to try to be specific of what you want, what you get, but what you need. That's how it seems to be. So let's see what's going on in the middle of this situation for you. So let's see. So what's in the middle of this situation? The Eight of Cups is upright, yeah, because you want to have entertainment. You want to be entertained. You want to know what it is in that way. You're trying to be specific. You're trying to get what you want. You're trying to understand that you're trying to figure out why you're happening like this, why you're feeling like this. But the way how this is, you're trying to proceed about caution. You're trying to know what it is in that way. You're trying to believe that everything seems to be fine. So what's in the left side? Moon or yours, there's no misrotations, whereas over there's completion. The Three of Wands is over there's basically communication because you want to be communicated as it well, because that's how it goes. So you might be dealing with another Leo, Aries, Sagittarius in that way, because you have to go with the flow, Sagittarius. You know what it is, but that's how it goes in that way. You know what it is because you're trying to figure out of how you can be compatible of what you want, what you get, but you have to proceed with caution. That's how it is. And you have to go with the flow in that way, right? That's how it seems to be. What's happening on the right side, please? The Knight of Wands here says no maturity. Emperor is upright. There's progress, or structure, and the Magician's upright. There's basically a skill. Yeah, that's how it goes. Because you're trying to do exactly what it is. You're trying to, go with the flow. You have to know what it is in that way. Because you're trying to figure out what you're going to get, what you want, how it is in that way. So let me clarify the left side, please. The Wheel for here says bad luck. The Fool is upright, there's change. And the Strength card yours, there's no bravery. Because you're being scared. You don't know why you're feeling scared, but that's how it goes. You're trying to emphasize about you're trying to not having the blame about yourself, but you don't know what it is. You're trying to physically, try and motivate yourself out of the question. But the way how this is, you're trying to have sincere. You're trying to, have your own basic needs of what you want, what you get. But then you have to try to figure out what you're going to provide in that way. That's how it goes. Let's be saying on the right side, please. The Magician reverse, there's no skill. The Judgment reverse, there's no action. The Moon is upright, there's misrotations. Yeah, obviously, that's how it goes. You're trying to criticize about what's going on. The Moon energy is affecting you. You don't know why it's affecting you, but how this is, you're trying to, converse of your own feelings, because that's how it goes. You're trying to believe that everything seems to be fine, right? Because if you're feeling scared and you're whimpering or whatever it is, you want change, you want bad luck, that's how it goes. So what's something on the left side, please? The Emperor is upright, there's structure. Lovers is upright, there's decisions. The Tower is upright, there's basically transformation. Yeah, because everything's changing. That's how it goes. And when you do that, that's how it is. Basically, can comply what you want, but then you have to proceed what you're going to be doing in that way, right? You have to try to figure out about that. How you're going to have your life expect about having all these expectations, and you have to know exactly how it is in that way. What's happening with this moon card? The death card is upright, there's endings. The magician upright, there's skill. The hangman is upright, there's restrictions. Yeah, because you're focusing on Scorpio as a water sign, because you might be thinking about being in love with Scorpio, or you don't know what you're going to be doing. That's how it goes in that way. So you're trying to figure out that everything's going to comply about that situation in that way. What's in the middle of this Eight of Cups here? The Sun card, there's negativity. Yeah, because you're trying to not get negative. You're not trying to draw into that, but why it does that? Why it affects in that virtual way about knowing what to do in that way. So let's see what's going on in the middle of this situation. The Sun card. So you're trying to figure out that you're in negativity, but then you're in positivity at the same time. So you're in between negative and positive at the same time, right? So you're trying to figure out why you're going to be doing it in that way. So let's say what's one card for the Tower. The Empress is upright, okay? So there's nourishment. What's on the right side? The Taurus is upright, there's healing. Yeah, so that's how it goes in that way. So you're trying to figure out what's happening. So let me clarify the Empress, please. The Judgment of yours, you're not taking action. The Hangman of yours, there's no restrictions. The Chariot of yours, there's no progress. Sun card of yours, there's negativity. Yeah, exactly. Right? So when you are in negativity, it's like you're drawn into that. Right? It's like everything seems to be fine, but then everything is not. Because you're being scared, you're whimpering, you don't know what to do, because everything is basically trying to have that reverse psychology in that way. Like you're acting like everything is okay, but then everything is not. That's how it goes in that way. It's like you have to believe in order to do it in that way, and then you think, okay, I know what to do, but then it's just not going to end well. That's how it seems to be. What's between the Sun card in the middle? The strength card of yours, there's no bravery. The Lovers of yours, there's no decisions. The Death card is upright, there's endings. Yeah, because you're focusing on Scorpio. When you're focusing on Scorpio, because you are basically intimate with Scorpio, maybe you're trying to figure out what's going to be happening, but you know what it is. You're trying to know what it takes in that way, because you're trying to be on about that point of how it goes, right? It's like, oh, everything seems to be fine. Alright, I know what to do. It's like, yeah, but you need to understand about what you're going to get, what you want, what you perceive, because that's how it goes in that way. What's this Temperance card about? The Hierophant is upright, you want guidance. The World is upright, there's completion. Yeah, because you want everything to be all completed, because that's how it goes. You're trying to believe that everything seems to be fine, because that's how it goes. It's like, oh, okay, everything seems to be fine. Alright, you got this. But then it's like how you're going to do exactly what you're told to do, but you're trying to be responsible of how you're feeling in that way. Sagittarius, you know how it goes, but you have to define it in that way, right? So it's like, okay, everything seems to be fine, alright, I know what to do, I got this, but that's how it goes. So let's see what's on this left side about. The King of Swords here is, so there's no knowledge, alright, what's in the middle? Three Pentacles is upright, there's excitement, alright, what's on the right side? The High Priestess reversed, so there is no inner voice. So you're not having your own inner voice, that's how it goes. You're trying to figure out why you're having this way, but that's how it goes in that way. So let's see what's happening. So let me clarify this King of Swords here on the left side. The King of Swords is upright, you want knowledge. Three of Wands reversed, there's no communication. The Hermit reversed, there's no solitude. Page of Wands reversed, there's no prospect. The World is upright, there's completion. Yeah, because when you're not having communication, it's like things are not going as planned. But when everything's completed, you know what it is, you know how it takes, because you're trying to not having fear, you're not trying to have any discipline, you know how it goes. But when you use the word blame, you're trying to blame that you're blaming about your energy, you're blaming about what's going on. You're trying to see that everything seems to be fine, but it's like, why are you doing it? It's like everything's like intense, And it's like, why are you having intense feelings in that way, right? That's how it goes. What's happening with this Three of Pentacles about? The High Priest of yours, there's no voice. 91 Star, there's no maturity. Two of Swords is upright. So you don't know which direction you're going to take, left or right. So let me clarify this. So let's see what's on the left side. The Page of Cups is upright. You want loyalty. What's on the right side? You want judgment. Yeah, because you want to take action in that way. Because you're trying to figure out, okay, this is how it goes. I'm acting like I'm being immaturity. I'm acting like I want that action. I want loyalty. I want everything that I want. That's how it goes, right? So you want things to be happening all at once. That's how it goes. But when you have your own blame, you're blaming about your own energy. You're blaming that you want what you get, what you want, what you provide, what you're doing in that way. Because everything is all good. But you have to be satisfactory in knowing what to do in that way. Right? So this is not short and sweet. This is the way how it goes in that way. What's how this High Priestess about? 8 Pentacles here, there's no perfection. 8 Cups here, there's no entertainment. The San Wands here, there's no silence. Empress here, there's no nourishment. 8 Wands separate their speed. Yeah, because that's how it goes. When you have speed, you want to have action. You want to provide what you're doing. In that way, you're trying to have your own alignment of how it goes. Because you're trying to figure out that everything is all aligned in one way. That's how it goes. It's like, okay, everything seems to be fine. Alright, I know what to do. But then it's like how I'm going to do it in that way. I'm trying to, how I can feel in that way. Right? That's how everything is. So let me try to figure out what this World card is about. So let me clarify. Devil reverse, there's no violence or obsessions. The Judgment is upright, there's action. The High Priestess is upright, you're using your inner voice. Yeah, that's how it goes, because you want action, you want to take your own sensitivity, because you want to know what it takes in that way. So it's like, okay, I know what to do, alright, I'll go with the flow, that's how it goes, right? So you're trying to beyond how it goes in that way, because that's how it goes. What's in the middle of this situation? The star is upright, yeah, because there's inspiration, you wish upon a star, because you want everything to be happening all at once. That's how it goes. What's happening on the right side? The moon is upright, yeah, because there's misrotations, yeah, because you might be focusing about your energy right now, because like what it said is like the moon energy is like basically affecting you in that way, because that's how it goes, right? So what I mean by that is that there are things that you need to understand in that way. So let's see what's going on with this Judgment and this High Priestess about. The Temperance reverse, there's no healing. Judgment is reversed, there's no action. 6 Swords reverse, there's no movement. But 7 of Swords, sorry, yeah, because you're feeling deceit, right? It's like, why are you doing it? Because that's how it complies. So you might be doing it under Gemini, Libra, Aquarius in that way. Air signs, because that's how it goes in that way. What's happening in the middle? The Star reverse, so there's no inspiration. The Ace of Swords, there's basically understanding here, and the Wheel of Fortune is alright, you want good luck. That's how it goes in that way. It's like everything seems to be fine, but you know what it is, right? That's how it goes in that way, and you have to know exactly how it is. You're trying to divine it. But the way how this is, you want to have good luck on your side, you want things to be happening, because everything needs to be all plural, or whatever it is, that's how it goes in that way. It's like, okay, I know what to do, but this is how it goes. What's this Moon card about? No, 1 years, there's no fear. The Chariot years, there's no progress. The 2 ones is upright because you want to plan on something. So, planning is the best option there is. There's no doubt about it, but the way how this is like you need to have everything all sincere in that way, because you have to know exactly how it goes. So let me clarify this 7 of Swords here. 3 of Swords yours, there's no heartbreak. Page of Pentacles is upright, there's prospects. The 4 of Wands yours, there's no celebration. The Hangman is upright, there's restrictions. Yeah, because you're being restricted of knowing what to do, but then you know what it takes in that way. It's like, okay, everything seems to be fine. Alright, I got this, but then this is how it goes in that way. It's like, alright, I know how it is in that way. Everything is going to become to, casual of how it goes. It's like, yes, I got this, but that's how it goes, right? So that's what it seems to be. What's between this Ace of Swords and this Wheel of Fortune? The Four of Swords here, there's no rest or healing. The Sun card reversed, there's negativity, exactly. Ace of Cups, there's basically romance, like as in basically prosperity of romance. So you might be focusing on another Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio in that way. You might be dealing with Scorpio, you might not, but it all depends on your point of view in that way, right? So it's like, alright, everything seems to be fine, alright, I got this, but that's how it goes in that way. It's like, okay, I know what to do, but that's how it kind of complies in that way, and you know what it is in that way. What's between these two of wands here? Temperance is upright, there's healing. Ace of Swords, there's anxiety. The Knight of Swords, there's no drama. Chariot, there's no progress. The Five of Wands, there's chaos. Yeah, because that's how it goes. It's like, why are you feeling like this? Because you're trying to have your own temptation about when you're having anxiety, when you're having things are not appearing the way it was, because that's how it goes. It's like you're trying to figure out, oh, everything is about you, or if it's about them, or whatever it is. It's like how you're going to do it in that way. It's like everything has to be all good, but then this is how it goes in that way. So you have to know what it takes. So let me figure out this happening for you, Sagittarius. From August 18th to August 25th of 2025. Let's see what's happening. So let's see what this universe is saying for you. So let me do one card for the left side, one card in the middle, one card on the right. The Emperor is upright, there's structure. Right, what's in the middle? Seven of Cups here, there's no delusion. What's on the right side? The Strength card is upright, there's bravery. Alright, so what's happening with this Emperor card? Six of Pentacles upright, there's kindness. Six of Swords upright, there's basically movement. Yeah, because you want kindness, you want movement, you want things to be happening all at once, because that's how it is, so you understand what it takes in that way. So you might be focusing on another Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, you might be focusing on another Virgo, Capricorn, Taurus. There are things you must learn first in order to do that, because everything has to be all great, but then it's like, okay, I know what to do, but this is how it is. You're trying to, have your own lifestyle, or whatever it is, because that's how it complies, that's how it goes in that way, but you have to focus on that in the here now situation. That's how it goes. Let's look at the Seven of Cups here. For Wands, there's celebration. Two of Swords, you are at the crossroads. So again with this, so let's see what's happening on the left side. Which isn't that right? You want skill. What's on the right side? You want support. Yeah, so you want to have things to be all at once. Because you want skill, you want support, you want things to be happening all at once. That's how it goes. And you have to believe that in order to do that. That's how it goes, right? So you have to believe in order to do that. You're trying to be successful, knowing what it takes, because you have to know what it is in that way. It's like, okay, everything seems to be fine. Alright, this is how it goes. Alright, this is how it's going to comply what it is in that way, because that's how it goes. What's this bravery about? By one star, there's chaos. The Queen of Cups is over, there's empathy. Yeah, because you are basically focusing on two sides of the story here. One makes sense, one doesn't make sense. But you have to know about how it's going to be in that way, because that's how it goes. Certainty is the best policy there is, because there are things you must learn first. In order to do that, you're trying to, have your own self-control. You have ability, because that's what it is. You're trying to not focus about your blame, but the way how this is, that's how it goes. What's in the middle of this? There's healing. Yes. So when you are focusing about your own support, your own skill, but then you're focusing on your healing, you're focusing on that, So you're focusing on the way how this is. But before I let you go, try to pay attention to what's happening in that way. Try to know about how it is. You're trying to be boastful of how it goes, but you have to know what it takes in that way. You have to know about it. You're trying to have sincere. You're trying to be, biological estimation of how it goes, right? So you're trying to understand that. But the way of this is, um, Sagittarius, you know how it takes in that way, and you have to go exactly what it is. You're trying to do exactly what I told you. You're trying to be responsible how you're feeling, but that's how it goes, right? So you have to remain about being focused and being respected, and that's how it goes in that way. So that's how it goes. But before I let you go, try to pay attention about this whole entire reading, and I hope that it does understand of how it goes. And you have to, do exactly what it is, but you have to learn about the basics. That's how it is. But that's what it seems to be, and this is how it is. So I hope you all like this video. Please understand that this is the way it goes, and this is what happens, and this is what it seems to be. So you're trying to do exactly what it is. But I hope you all like this video. Please give a like. Please give a comment if you want, and I'll see you next time. Thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye for now. Really, thanks, and bye.